together. Karibu sana. Thank you for those who have already joined, and they're putting up with us. Just checking on those people. What are your comments? Asante sana, asante sana. I hope from my director can be able to access everything. Thank you, Reverend Sam from Ithaka. God bless you. Hey, that was fast. Asante sana. I appreciate you coming in. Thank you, John Ode from Nakuru. I appreciate. Thank you, Favor. Thank you, Sam. I appreciate. Asante sana, asante sana. I feel relieved. I feel encouraged seeing you people here. Thank you, Reverend Isaac, all the way from Isaac Moroga, all the way from Muranga. God bless you. Thank you for sharing this link and copying it into your pages. It really encourages us and really give us a reason to move on. Baraka sana. Thank you, Ambuimboro, for coming in. God bless you. And all those people that they're watching us from from different corners. Allow me to get into night's discussion, walking away from anger and bitterness. And you realize this when we mention about anger, when we talk about bitterness, there are things that are direct to us, because I know each and every one of us in one point in life you have been either hurt, frustrated, disappointed, and you felt like there is something have really punched you. And when I talk about anger and bitterness, I know someone can be able to sit down and know this is something I have gone through life. These are not some of the topics when we discuss and you're like, hey, today's show was not mine, it was for a certain group of people. Everybody that listening to me, you have been frustrated, you have been disappointed, and when we didn't, either personally we didn't meet to, or rather live up to our expectation, that place of accepting and admitting, that place of feeling bitter, feeling anger, and then so I know tonight everybody will get to a place when you'll be able to say, now I can be able to forgive myself and I can also be able to forgive others and move on. And that's what we'll be looking at too, and we'll be able to look what the difference between anger, what's the difference between anger and bitterness, and how are they related, and how can we also deal with them, because at the end of the day I can tell you for free that anger is part of our life. Anger is part of our life. As long as you're breathing, as long as you're within the normal parameters of a human being, there are things you'll never avoid in life. And that is the reason why we are discussing this, so that we know how can we maneuver, how can we navigate, because anger will be part and parcel of any human being. There is no day you'll say that I have avoided anger fully. There are things either from people around us, or from institutions surrounding us, or from environment that we are in. There are things will keep hurting us, and at the end of the day we cannot keep assuming them. So how do we get to build and coping strategies even when it comes to the issue of anger? And I'm going to look at I'll look at 3 scenarios of how to deal with anger, because there is another, what we call the extreme, the extremes of anger, those situations, or those places when you found ourselves and you are extremely hurt. You cannot compare not meeting a goal, the frustration that comes with that, and someone who was, his right to have violated, or probably they were sodomized, or they were, they were defiled, they were raped, and all that. You cannot compare the same kind of bitterness and anger. So one, you feel an extreme, and these are the people who have battled with forgiving themselves, the people who have battled with that journey. So we look at both extremes and how we can deal with it. Now, what is anger? Let's start from there. What is anger? How does anger come about? And how do you know that you're dealing with you're beating and you're around? How do you get to know that you're angry, you're bitter? How do you get to know that you're in that stage? And I'll be able to say that anger is as simple as it's a negative emotional reaction towards things that probably didn't go the way we expected them. Let me come again. Anger, these are the negative emotions. And these negative emotions are disappointment, resentment, irritation. So those are the things they show you're angry about something. You're not okay with something. So that place of that anger that comes within you, that mood that comes with you, that emotional expression that you're not comfortable, discomfortability that comes either because of something that happened or because of somebody did something to you. The place when you feel there was injustice, the place when you feel your right has been violated, when you feel there was you're not given an equal opportunity like anybody else, the way you react to this situation after, internalizing and getting to a place of how can I decode what happened to me? That thing that makes you feel like I'm bitter, you feel I'm disappointed. Now that's what brings anger. That all brings, you feel like you want to, blow out. You feel like you want to, there is a lot of energy that comes. There is that moment when feeling you're not comfortable with yourself. Now that's the place of anger. And I'll say this, different people have different way of expressing their anger. All human beings you could have 10 people facing the same situation, but they have a different degrees when it comes to, expressing their anger and how they interpret situation and how they react to things. And we look why these happen. So I've said in a very simpler manner that anger, it's a feeling, it's an emotional feeling, it's an emotion expression of our discomfort, our resentment, our disappointment, and our irritation, either because of something that happened to us and affected us negatively, or somebody who affected us negatively. It could be both. Even us, we cause ourselves to be angry with ourselves, either because of the things we push ourselves to, or because of the things that people pushed us to. Are we together? So that place when you feel this is not okay with me, then there are certain times you'll feel there is a place of getting anger and not being comfortable with yourself. Now, how do you get to know you have anger issues? Number one, the moment someone is angry, the people will shut, they will not talk. Their people will talk and talk and talk. The people that when they're angry, they have energy, they can do a lot of things. And the reason why they are doing this, they're trying to vent out, they're trying to get a place how I can allow myself to be comfortable with myself. They're actually people go to extreme and they become physical. You have seen people, hitting wall, fighting, because they're trying to let this energy that came out of anger out. They're trying to communicate to people, I'm not okay. So people have different way of expressing their anger. And there are three dimensions, or there are three ways people express their anger. Number one, those people will be able to expressive. They'll be very expressive. They'll be able to communicate. They'll say, I'm not okay. I was disappointed. I'm not feeling okay. These things that I expected to be this way didn't happen this way. You did this to me and I was hurt. I'm hurting. They're able to express themselves. And they'll be able to communicate very well that this is what I felt. Whether you like it or not, whether you're able to admit it, I've expressed my anger, I've communicated what I felt, and they're good to that. There are other people who are going to suppress. So they were hurt, they were disappointed, but they will show it's okay. They will be like showing you nothing happened to me. And suppression is a place of assuming. And is what we were discussing some few months or few weeks ago, emotional avoidance. They bottled up and they just assume they were not hurt, no one disappointed them, it's okay, and life move on. Now, the unfortunate part of the number two, suppression of anger, is when it gets too much into your heart and to your mind. You get to a place when you cannot be able to control. And then when you get people, they just break. And when they break, they will do things. You are shocking. No, you are well yesterday. What happened? Because they have walked a journey. They have bottled up. They have held this anger for so long to a place when it gets their mind and heart cannot hold anymore. And when they reach there, They're the people who can do things and you wonder, we didn't expect this to happen. Even to them themselves, they'll be like, I don't know how I did it. It's because they got to a place and there was no any other capacity to hold that anger. Suppression sometimes is okay when the environment is not conducive for communication. Because when you talk about the social intelligence, is a place when you can be able to analyze and know, if I speak this at this particular moment, things will be more worse than they are now. So sometimes practicing suppression, anger suppression, it is okay. But don't suppress it for so long. Make sure after the environment become conducive, when you feel comfortable now to communicate, now you can let it out. Because when you talk, it becomes therapeutic. It allows you to start healing. Because that place when we are talking about negative emotion, it means it's like there is something that was not okay within you. It's only that every time you have an emotional damage, it doesn't show the scar physically. But in the mind and in the heart, there are scars that are left there. And you cannot continue assuming that scar. You must let that wound heal. And how you let the emotional wound heal is, number one, accepting that now I need to speak it out. I need to let it out. So I've said sometimes we practice suppression, either because the environment is not conducive, and if you dare start talking at that particular moment, you make things worse. How I'm clear? So I have said, number one, there is a place of expression. You can express your emotion, and this most of the time is when you get people taking advantage of you, not once, not twice, and you feel, now I need to communicate to people. You have been doing this to me, and enough is enough. Now, if you're not able to do that, then you'll get to the place when you can be able to express, suppress that emotion. And most of the time I've said, either when the environment is not conducive, or probably you feel, if I dare talk about this thing now, I'm going to do worse. So at that particular moment, you're able to hold and see, when am I going to communicate. Let me see those people who have joined even before. Thank you, Grace, for coming. James, God bless you. Sholuta, thank you. Thank you, Madam Ann, for coming in. Thank you, Sana, for yes, I can see people saying we are moving on very well. So kindly make sure you keep sharing these and tagging others. Thank you, Nancy Wakabode from Geshieki, MCC in Kiambu. God bless you. So I've said the three ways of expressing our anger. That is suppression, then expression, and then number three is an expression or unexpressed. So number three is the place when you just assume that nothing happened. Now, number two, when I have talked about suppression, you already know you are hurt, but you allow yourself not to communicate or talk about it. Now, when we talk about unexpressed, it is where you are just comfortable. It's like nothing has happened. It's like you, I would say it's a place when you have rubbed it off. It's like that sin, it's no longer there. And most of the time I would say, when people, they get to this place of assumption, or rather they keep assuming their anger for long, where they don't express their anger, unexpressed anger, you hammer it for long. Now that's a place when you get to bitterness. Because we need to understand that bitterness, it is the prolonged state of being angry or express, or rather, I would be able to say that bitterness is a prolonged anger. If you get a scenario today and you didn't deal with it, then you get something else tomorrow, you didn't deal with it, then another month you didn't deal with it. Those episodes of being angry, facing the same disappointment, then what it build up, it build anger. The roots of bitterness is anger. The foundation of bitterness is anger. So when you don't deal with anger, when you don't deal with those episodes of being disappointed, those are place of feeling irritation, when you don't deal with them, then eventually what you're going to give birth, it is bitterness. Now, bitterness is more, it's more dangerous, is more destructive than anger. Because you have become used to this. Have you gotten people who have gotten used to something and they're like, this is how my life is. By the way, I got used to people abusing me. By the way, I got people looking down upon me. It's like there is someone who did in the first place, but you didn't address it. So you allowed it to happen so many times until you become so bitter with yourself. So I have said that the root, the foundation of bitterness, it is anger. Many scenarios, many episode of being being angry, being disappointed, being discouraged, being irritated, but you're not dealing with it. You're going to give birth to a child called bitterness. And you become bitterness in life. What happen is you are very negative about life. You're negative about yourself. You have the wrong perception towards everything. And we look some of the things that affect us when we become bitter in life. So in a nutshell, that's the foundation of bitterness and anger. Now, how are you going to walk out of this? Number one, accept that you are hurt. Never assume. As when you never deal with something until you accept it. You never heal until you accept you are sick. So you cannot deal with anger, you cannot deal with bitterness until you accept. When you keep denying you're okay and you're not okay, you cannot heal. The place of knowing that I was hurt, I was done this way, I was on child, my boss did this to me, my friend did this to me. If you keep assuming it didn't hurt you, you'll never heal. So the best way of walking out from bitterness and anger is number one, accept. Call yourself a meeting and know, you know what? They did this to me. I might not be in a position to revenge. Even if I revenge, it's not going to take away the pain. So what do? You're only left with the place of, I have accepted. This is not what I wanted, but it came my way. So that you can start the journey of getting, correcting yourself back and seeing no matter what they did, no matter what you went through, you are still important and worth. I hope I'm clear. So number one, walking away from bitterness and anger, please accept your hurt, accept you're disappointed, either by people or by yourself, and don't assume. The most likely time when you keep assuming things, most of the time you keep repeating them. Have you seen people who get, they keep, I would say, because they assumed, they never learned. So they keep doing the same mistake or the same thing. But the moment you accept, then you'll be able to go to the step 2 and know, how am I going to safeguard my safe place? How am I going to make sure that I have a safe place? So that I don't go through the same road that I went through. Because I don't want to be hurt again. What am I going to do? Because I accepted. So number 2, you're able to create a safe place for yourself. And when you're creating a safe place for yourself, you are able to build up what I would call standard and principles. You're able to know from today, this is the boundary, this is the wall I'm going to have. And the purpose of this wall is that I have a space where people cannot tamper with me. There are places when you know I need to protect my emotions. I need to protect my sanity. I know people will say all these things, but I will not allow them to get into my mind. I will not allow this kind of statement get into my heart. They say this, you cannot control what people to say, but you can control to what you're going to respond and to react to. Most of the time why we get angry with people is because we are not able to know that was not my standard, so I cannot consider with that. I cannot give that thing attention because it is below who I am. But you find most of the time we are hurt because we drag ourselves even to other people's mess. There are people who are already frustrated with life and they want to drag us into their frustrations. And because we don't know how to create a safe place when you can be assertive and be able to say, no, I cannot go beyond this line and this is me. Dealing with life, you need to be very assertive. You need to protect that safe place. If you don't know how to protect that safe place, I'm telling you, people and situations are going to take advantage of you. People will keep hurting you and they'll assume like they have done nothing. And you keep dragging yourself into their mess. Why? Because you have not created what I have called a safe place for yourself. When everything breaks, when everything can't make sense, when everybody cannot appreciate you, there is a place where you fall back. Where is that place you can fall back? Where is that place you can run to? And you feel like now I'm safe, I'm home and dry. Remember I said this. Anger will be part of life because we'll be frustrated, we'll be disappointed because we cannot live alone. And as long as we have people, you get frustrated. Your home, your siblings, your parents, you'll either hurt them or they'll hurt you. How you respond is making sure I can be able to have a standard and value in my safe place, to know what to keep into my heart and to know what to let go. Number 3, if you want to walk away from bitterness and anger, you must be very intentional about it. Intentionality, there are people who want to do something, they want to walk away, but they want to keep remembering this episode. They want to keep remembering what they were told. Someone can do a text or call you, and after that conversation, you feel like, diminish. There are people who will make sure they want to bring you down. They want to show you how you're not important. And if you keep this memory, intentionality comes when you decide to walk away. Please walk away even mentally. Literally walk away from those scenarios. I know it is not easy because some you feel like, man, I wish you were there. But you know that at the end of the day, it happens. The place of healing might take long, but you must be intentional in starting that journey. Sometimes you have said in counseling, if it require to, in mind, form a dummy of that person and have a conversation to this person. You did this to me, you did this to me, you did this to me. Even if this, because this is a dummy, cannot respond, but you have let it out. Sometimes you'll take a paper and be able to write it down. At this day, in this month, in this year, this happened to me, this happened, and I felt this, and I felt this. If it requires you to cry there, and be able to decide, now because I have cried enough, I'm ready to walk away from this pain. I need to get to another level of enjoying life. When you become bitter, when you're so angry about yourself, you never see anything about yourself. You'll see the negative impact of, a continuous exposure to, to disappointment, hurt, and irritations. You'll get, affecting your emotions in terms of self-esteem, your confidence. Any person who battles with bitterness and anger, what happens is they affect their image. They find like they are not as important as other people. You'll find these people most of the time, their self-confidence, it is always, they keep questioning their self-confidence. They still question their worthiness. Because you cannot have a negative emotion and at the same time thrive positively. Because when you have emotion which flows, a negative emotion that is flowing in your blood, you'll start realizing it affects your positivity in terms of thinking, in terms of your image. So this is very important, walking out of those bitterness. And I've said tonight, be intentional. We agree and I accept some of the things, most of the people who hurt us are people we trusted, are people like that was our world. And within no time, it changed to be hell. But because you are breathing, you are still important. You are still valuable. You are still a treasure. If not to so many people, you are still a treasure to yourself. And coming out of bitterness and anger is that place when you see your worth. Is that place you see your value. Is that place you see how important you are. Is that place when you start seeing how gifted you are, how talented you are. And becomes easier to start the journey of walking. When we talk about walking, there are people who are going to make their first stride. It is like they're running. Some of us will crawl, but at the end of the day, we have made a progress from negativity and getting to a place when we can be comfortable with ourselves. We cannot continue holding this grudge, this rage within ourselves, and yet we want to enjoy life. We cannot continue holding this displeasure within ourselves, and yet we want to enjoy life. And you know what? Sometimes the people that frustrated us, Probably the people that disappointed us, probably the people who brought this pain to us, actually probably they are no longer in our life. They are no longer in our picture. What remains is our memory. It's a memory. And working on that memory helps you. So tonight, can you be intentional? Can you be intentional about that scenario? Can you be intentional on what you went through and allow yourself that place of, if it require you to cry, if it require you to shout, please do. And just tell yourself, tonight, I'm starting a journey of forgiving myself and forgiving those people that frustrated me, those people that hurt me, those people that made me to cry, those people who made me I'm not important, those people showed me how useless I am. And you agree with yourself, I'm going to carry myself through this process. It is not easy, but it is worth process going through. Because if you continue lingering in that environment of anger and bitterness, my friend, sooner or later, you start going to have, get to a place of stress, get into depression, get into a place of hypertension, get into a place when you have lifestyle diseases, because your body has fought this battle. And it's a battle that is within. The worst battle to fight is the battle within. This battle, people can see you are fighting a battle within you. You go to bed, you can't sleep because there is a battle within you. There are things that are happening within you, but no one can get into that place apart yourself. So you want to walk away? Please be intentional. Number 3 or number 4, based on where we are, it is very important to allow yourself to forgive yourself. Forgive yourself, because I said some things we have gone through in life, either because we took ourselves there. We have no one to blame. Another phase is there are people that caused us that pain. And because there is nothing much we can do about them, we can't revenge. Is a place of allowing to forgive them and forgiving ourselves. And remember, even not forgiving them, anytime you forgive somebody, you're not doing them justice. You're doing yourself justice. Because you're getting to a place and saying, I'm not going to continue holding to this person. I'm not going to continue carrying this person in my life. And they're not adding any value. Forgiveness does not help the person who is going to be forgiven, but it's about your well-being. It's about your psychological well-being. If you're carrying 100 people, if every person who frustrates you, you carry them. If every person who disappoints you, carry them. If every person who comes into your life and you hurt them, they hurt you, and then you keep carrying them, my friend, you're going to carry a lot of baggage. You are 30, but you look like you are 100 because you are carrying logs. You are carrying baggages. You cannot even smile. You do a nice dress, a new dress, but you still look old because you are carrying old memories. And you know what? Sometimes life is sweet when you decide to let things be and go. You want to walk away from bitterness? Forgive those people. Sometimes it's not easy when you remember what they did to you. Imagine forgiving someone who made sure that you are fired. Imagine forgiving someone who came into your life and they messed you. It is not easy. But you know what? Those people are not in your life. You are living your life. And we have said time and again that there is no substitute for your life. You're the only person who can live this life. So with that understanding, you'll be able to say, now tonight I'm forgiving everybody, and I'm also forgiving myself, and I'm ready to open a new chapter. I hope I'm clear on that we need to forgive ourselves. Thank you. Thank you, Patricia. Thank you, Sila Ruto, for coming in. God bless you. Let's welcome Sila Ruto. That's our new member tonight. Reverend Kayu, God bless you. Thank you. Thank you, Evans, for coming in. Eldoret is well represented. Asante sana watu wa kule Baringo na Eldoret at large. Thank you for coming in, and God bless you. Now, that is how you can walk. But how can you manage anger? How can you manage bitterness? Because sometimes it is not easy. You get things don't go the way you wanted, and that that emotion has come up. How can you deal with anger? Number one, please, every time when you're angry, you're bitter, minimize your wordings. Don't talk much when you're bitter. Don't talk much when you're angry. Please hold yourself. And I always tell people, if you realize you're this person that you can react very easily to people or to things verbally, always move around with a bottle of water. When you feel like you want to throw words, take a sip of water. The most powerful weapon we have in the world, it is the tongue. It doesn't have bone, and I'm telling you, it's a powerful weapon. When you're angry and bitter, you can say things that you keep to regret. And sometimes it is not easy, and it will never be easy, amending the words that we release. Two wrongs can't make a right. So when you know you're bitter, you're angry, please minimize your words. Talk less. Talk less. Number two, if you want to manage your anger and bitterness, every time when you get yourself in that scenario, kindly walk away. Take a walk. Get out of that environment. You cannot continue in the same place that it keeps triggering you. It keeps reminding you. You can take a walk from that environment for a day or two, or probably for hours, because they are place when you cannot be far. You have issues at home and you need to come back. But take a break for a few minutes or hours. Just have a walk. This will help you to be in touch with yourself. This will be in touch to internalize. What am I going to say? What am I not going to say? How am I going to respond to this person? What am I not going to respond? So walking away can help a lot. Those people you have found in a house fighting, if one of the person decided just to walk away, maybe the result could be different. Result could have been different. So make sure that you are able to walk away, leave that environment, and make sure where you go, it's a place that you are safer. It's a place when, if you feel those people that when they're angry, they have suicidal minds, please make sure even as you're walking in an environment that is also safer for you. It's not a place when you can harm yourself. Then number three, when you want to manage anger, do what you love. The best place to deal with what you don't like is doing what you like. Someone have frustrated you. You love music, do music. You love doing a meal, do the best meal. You love dancing, go there. Do that thing that you like. The moment you're doing what you like, you start feeling important. You start the self-esteem within you, a positive feelings, a positive emotion start building up. You start feeling easy with yourself. You start feeling your mind is becoming easier. Bitterness and anger, it affects our mind and our hearts. You're feeling like there is a load has been placed on top of your brain. So when you're doing what you love, you start becoming ease. You start feeling good. You start feeling important again. You feel now I can address this thing without having emotional attachment to it. So you can do what you like, and that will help you a lot. And that's why I always tell people, please know what makes you happy. You can't say this life, me, I'm okay with everything. No. You need to be very specific. What is that thing or two things that you do alone and you feel like this one, it's good. That is very important if you want to manage your anger. So make sure you have done what you like. Do it the best that you can. The number 4 and very key, if it's possible, allow yourself to express it. Speak it out. There are people who will be able to say, let me speak it now because it's going to help me. Because if you don't speak it, if you don't mention it, then it affects you. So speak it out if you can. And please always know this, which will be my next point. If you want to become better in terms of anger and bitterness, always be considerate. Always be considerate. Remember we said two wrongs can't make a right. Sometimes when we are talking, we want to vent out. And as we are venting out to this other person who probably did wrong to us. It's like you're pouring what would call paraffin, and you're making even the situation worse. So when you are venting out and you're letting out things from your heart and from your mind, always be objective and not subjective. The reason why you find people fighting when there is issues of bitterness and anger is because they start addressing the persons instead of addressing the issue. So every time when you're doing communication, always remember that it's very key for you to make sure that you are very objective and not subjective. I hope I'm clear. And finally, when we talk about dealing with anger, what can help you as an individual? What would call skills, personal skills, or personal understanding on navigating in the life, because situations will come in life when you feel like, now what can I do with these people, what can I do with this situation, because you'll keep disappointed. As long as we are living in this life, as long as we're in this life, my friend, I want to tell you, it is not a walk in the park. Things will be difficult. So how do you get to a place of making sure? Because you cannot keep holding those bitterness, that anger. You're always bitter every day. Umeingia komat, umebishana na konda, you are getting out there, feeling bad. Imagine if you get into 3 months and every time you're having issues with kange and you have to keep holding this. You get to an office, you have an issue with the boss, you have an issue with the secretary. You live a miserable life. So how do you get to build very simple but very important nugget or coping strategy so that you can be able to maneuver around situations that always will be tough and difficult in life? And number 1, please build what I would call interpersonal skills. Interpersonal skills are very important. And what are these interpersonal skills? Number 1, always do what we call intercommunication and intracommunication. Always learn to communicate with the self. Learn to have a meeting with the self. Learn to know what are the things, that I need to start adjusting to. There are people and there are things that we have held for so long, and we have not learned how to live with them. We have this kind of a boss, and this boss will keep hammering me. So how do I get to convince myself and develop a new way of dealing with this person? That is very important. Interpersonal skills are very key for your personal and also as you relate with others. And as you're relating with others, please learn to understand that people have issues and you don't become a dumping site. Don't allow people to take advantage of you. And how do you know this? Communicate assertively. Stand for what you know it is right. Please know your value. Know your worth. You don't have to let people water you down. You don't have to be in a meeting when people are showing you how useless you are. It's better walking away from such a meeting rather than staying in that meeting to please people, and then it will take you 4 or 5 years to heal from that. So you need to know when to say no and when to say yes. You need to know when to walk away and you need to know when to stay. You need to know when to close the door and you need to know when to open the door. Remember, you are the manager of your life. You have the ability to fire and hire. Don't become a people pleaser. You are not created to make everybody happy. You are not created to make everybody okay. You are not there to making sure everybody is smiling at your costs. Some people have become people pleaser and they have ended, if we were to do a sample and have a clear discussion and have an honest discussion, you'll get when people, they rest and they go into their bed and they can't get sleep because of what people have taken them through. Because they gave themselves to people and people took advantage of them. People took advantage and for granted. You need to know you are not a people pleaser. take the right seat in your life, you have the ability to fire and hire. If they're not adding value, they keep messing up with you, please, it is high time. Call for an emergency meeting in your life. And no, from today, I have decided this is the way I want my life. I always say this, and I want to tell you, my viewers, the greatest thing in life, they cannot be quantified. They cannot be, you cannot monetize them. The peace of your mind, which is ruined by anger and bitterness, there is no any supermarket you'll go and buy the peace of mind. There is no any supermarket you'll walk in and buy value. This is the value. No one, nowhere. So when I'm telling you with these, if you want to learn how to maneuver these stages, you cannot keep yourself, you cannot, position yourself as a paper punch. Everybody want to do a punch, they will come and, they punch you. You're not a paper bag or paper punch. No. You have the right to enjoy this life. And as people are coming to your life, also making sure you're able to create boundaries. This is the far I can go, and this is the far you can go. Number 3 or number 4, in the area of bitter, please also making sure you're able to understand others well. Understand people well. Also making sure that as you're communicating, and the Bible says in the book of Matthew chapter 7 and verses 12, the golden rule, do unto others what you would like done unto you. If you not want someone to hurt you, please don't hurt others. If you not want to, to disappoint, you don't want to be disappointed, please also learn not to disappoint people. Be authentic, be original, be genuine to people. Because sometimes some people are very selfish. You want to live this kind of life, but you keep hurting others. You want your space, but you keep meddling with other people's space. You want this kind of sanity, but you don't want to give other people sanity. Remember, they say in the sociology that I am because you are, and you are because I am. If you want me to be your peace, also be my peace. If you want me to be your joy, also be my joy in this life. I think this life will be very easy if you are able to understand each and every people's position. I wish you'll be able to understand how to value people as they are. I wish you get to the place of understanding the worth of people. For who and not for what. Because sometimes we have the mentality of use and dump. And this is what have caused a lot of people pain. When they feel they're used and they're dumped. And there are people who are gifted in that. They'll come in your life, they get whatever they want, and they pack and leave. And they have caused a lot of wounds in a lot of people. If probably you're among those people, as a better person in this life, making sure that you don't leave people worse than you found them. If you can't improve them, please just maintain them to where you found them. And if you find maintaining them is hard, it's also important to pack and leave them with the peace you found them in. I hope someone will get to a place tonight and be able to see, this is my life. These are the things that I have gone through, but I still have a chance to make myself better. You still have a chance to become better of yourself. With those scenarios of being, with those episodes of being hurt, frustrated, you can come out of them. You can walk out of them. There is no joy of staying there. There is no joy staying in that cocoon. There is no joy of living your 2024 in 2010 of something happened there. And we have acknowledged some of us have gone through the worst situations in life. But you know what? We cannot live backward. We can only live life forward. And someone told me, life is lived forward but understood backward. Those things that you went through in life, they have made you better. They have made you to know to what extent can you trust people? To what extent can you allow people in? And that I always tell people, and I've said tonight, create a safe place when you can fall back. And please don't entertain dramas in your life. Because when you start to become dramatic in life, it's going to drain you, it's going to cause a lot of pain in your life, and by the time you're realizing, you no longer have the joy. Remember, when bitterness comes in, when anger comes in, peace and joy vacates. When these things, when the negativity comes in your life, you never see anything good in your life. And you know what? Someone who is listening to me and watching to me, and they're battling with bitterness and anger, they can testify and they can comment there. One thing that they have an issue with is they don't believe they can trust anybody. And you see this, I always say the trust is the two-way traffic. If you can't trust people, then it will be very hard for those people to trust you. You'll get these people who have battled with anger and bitterness. Most of the time, they don't feel they're important. They don't feel they're worth like others. And most of the time, you'll find even when they can do better, they will allow other people who are not better than them to do what they're supposed to do. Because they are still believing, I cannot compete. I cannot show. You know, that image, that thing within your mind is still showing you how you're not good. Can you arise from those ashes? The power of a man is not standing, but rising up every time you fall down. How many times have you fallen? You can still wake up. And I always tell people that as long as you're breathing, God is not done with you. As long as you're breathing, your material to build a great success. As long as you're breathing, your mess can be used to make a message. All is not lost. If today you face life with the positivity, if you wake up and tell yourself, I'll be better, I'll be okay, I know it is not easy, but I know I can fight this, I can overcome this, I'm telling you, you'll come out better and even greater. And finally, please surround yourself with people who value you. Surround yourself with people who show you how important you are. Sometimes life will be difficult. Sometimes you feel vulnerable. If you become vulnerable, where can you fall back? Do you have what we would call a backup system? Do you have a backup system that when you feel like I need someone to carry me through, literally, I have people who will take care of me and not take advantage of me? I've had a lot of people, when people are trying to heal, they fall into the wrong hands and they become even worse and more miserable. And I tell people, always making sure you don't have to have a great circle. You need a small but important circle. You need a quality, not quality, not quantity. Make sure the quality that you have are people who understand you the way you are. You cannot heal when you don't have a conducive environment, when you have genuine hearts who value you for who you are. Start working on people that you are safe in their circle. People who will carry you, people who will be there for you. You need a shoulder to lean on, because as you're walking away, you need some effort, you need some power to take you through. They say you'll never solve a problem in the level it was created. So when the bitterness and the anger that you have gone through in life, you need someone to show you another phase of life, because you have gone through this phase of negativity. So you need someone who believes that your life, there is a light at the end of the tunnel. Then they can show you how to walk in this. Someone who can hold your hand and walk with you. Create a conducive environment. Get real people who you can trust. I know it's very hard to know who is that, but you can have a discernment, and out of interaction, you'll be able to know this kind of people. You can be safe within them and around them. I hope I'm clear. Thank you. Thank you, Beth, for coming in. Thank you, Daniel, all the way from Gatwanyaga. Jane, God bless you. Reverend Edward, God bless you. Samuel, thank you so much for coming in. Yeah, someone here is saying that you're not a pizza to make people happy. Take your position. Very true. Thank you, Judy, other from Baringo. God bless you. Trust issue become a major thing. Yes. And when you look at the issues of trust and how you can trust people, I remember I said here, the best place of trusting people, don't be too quick to talk too much. Sometimes we have taken ourselves into a pan. And allow me to say this. It is hard, but it's the naked truth. You find yourself opening too much to people. Even the intellectual capacity cannot even handle the smallest bit of your life. First gauge, what kind of a person are you opening your mouth to? What can he be able to even, or she, can she or he be able to, can your minds, can your heart marry? Can you have a general conversation before you become specific? These will help you. These are the things that helps you to understand, who am I dealing with? Number two, what are the intentions of these people in your life? Because most of the things and most of the time we have gotten ourselves frustrated and bitter. The people that really hit us so hard are the people who are very close to us, are the people who know our next move, are people who actually they know they can copy paste our life. And most of the time, these are the people they hit us hard. And that's why I said, please, it's not everything people they need to know. It's not everything. The lesser people know about you, the lesser they have to hit on you. The much people know about you, the much they will be able to. It's like you have given them the green light of to do whatever they want. So make sure, give what is important and don't give everything. It will help you to know how to maneuver around. And it's my prayer that somebody tonight will have a place of sitting down and see the things that I can work on, the things I can improve to become better. Don't continue crying. Don't continue feeling wushy, because life has to be lived. Life has to move on. And yeah, there is that skull, that out of that skull, there is a clear message that coming, you're going to encourage somebody and become better. I know in every situation and every circumstance, you become better in life. So tonight, may God help us to allow those things that we cannot change, to let them go. May God help you and I, those things that we cannot be able to, keep carrying because they are baggage, to let them go. It is not easy, but it's a worthy decision to make tonight. Thank you so much. God bless you for giving us an opportunity and making sure that we are growing together. We don't take it for granted. We are much humbled to have you. And from us to you people, shalom, shalom. Keep it safe. Always at the Well Show. Every Thursdays, 8 to 9, we are always here to build one another. Keep commenting. Keep dropping a message to us, how we can make this show better, what you think we can improve. And I know sooner or later, we'll be able to celebrate together. So thank you so much. God bless you. A blessed week until next week on Thursday. Keep it low, keep it safe at the Well Show.